Hi, this is Michelle Caskey from Homeschool-Your-Boys.com, and today I'm participating in an open collaboration video which is called My Biggest Homeschooling Mistakes. I've been homeschooling my boys for 15 years, and believe me, I've made plenty of mistakes, but in this video I'm going to share 3 of the big mistakes that I have made, and hopefully you will be able to learn from my mistakes and not repeat these yourself. The first mistake I made was letting my curriculum be in charge of my homeschool. Guess what? Your curriculum isn't in charge. You are. So if your curriculum is telling you that you need to read a certain number of pages, or you need to answer questions, or your kids need to fill out a map and they need to use 8 colors to do it, or just trying to think of all the crazy things that curriculum tells us to do sometimes, they can be a tyrant. Do not let your curriculum boss you around. You are the one who gets to decide what is going to work best for your kids. So use your curriculum as a guide. Use those teachers' manuals can be super helpful, or they can completely make you flip out, and they can make your homeschool a nightmare. So please remember who's in charge. Your curriculum, your teacher's manual is a guide. If it is helping you, wonderful. If it's not, rip it up and throw it away. The second big mistake that I've made was thinking that my boys needed to sit still to learn. I don't know, did you ever do this when you were a kid? Did you play school? Did you sit at a desk and raise your hand to ask questions? Did you have to wait for the bell to ring before you could get up and use the bathroom, or before you could have a snack? I remember playing school and being extremely rigid, and unfortunately I brought that into my homeschooling. When I first started homeschooling, I was a tyrant. Here were my little boys, and remember, I started homeschooling my boys when my oldest son was 2, and I was trying to train my son to raise his hand before he asked me a question. Yes, I have since learned that it's important to be respectful, but when you are talking in a classroom of 2, your kid doesn't really need to raise his hand to get your attention. He's got your attention. Just answer his question. There is a time when our kids will need to learn to raise their hand, when they are in a classroom environment like at church, and that is when it's important for them to raise their hand. But at home, you're not just a teacher, you are mom. So if your kid is asking you a question, don't ignore them until they raise their hand. Answer their question. The other thing is that there are so many amazing ways to learn that don't involve sitting. Walking through the woods, doing hands-on experiments, listening to music, listening to audiobooks. My kids do a lot of their learning when they're laying in bed or sitting on the couch. When they were younger, I would do all sorts of amazing things where they could get up and move around and jump and hop, and people do things where they have their kids jump on the trampoline but while they're doing their math facts. That's awesome. Boys learn really well when they're moving. You may have noticed this, but your sons and your husband probably pace when they're talking on the phone or when they're thinking about something deeply, and that's because male brains tend to work better when their body is in motion. So remember that. Don't make your son sit still when you're trying to teach him something. That's a huge mistake that I made at the beginning, and as soon as I learned that, things went so much better in our homeschool. The third mistake that I used to make all the time, and honestly still sometimes make, is taking things way too seriously and not enjoying the moment. I remember when my boys were young and I wasn't sleeping well, they weren't sleeping well, so I wasn't sleeping well, and I was tired and probably pretty cranky. And I just remember thinking, oh, I wish this kid could just talk to me and tell me what's on his mind. Or, you know, a little bit farther down the line, I wish that this future thing was happening. I wish I could have, you know, I can't wait until he's this age, and I can't wait until he's this age. Almost kind of wishing my life away. And the same thing with homeschooling. I can't wait until I'm done with this checklist for today so that we can be done with our schooling for the day. Such a mistake. The years do fly by. The days don't. The years do. Especially, you're going to notice this when your kids are teenagers. Please trust me on this. You're going to look up someday, and all of a sudden, you're going to barely remember the years when you were changing diapers like crazy, or when you had to stop the car in a panic because they needed to use the bathroom and they couldn't wait. You know, those years, they do fly by. The next thing you know, they're gone. So when it comes to homeschooling and parenting, enjoy the moment. Don't be so focused on your checklist that you are kind of regimented about it and not having fun. Don't make school so serious, especially in the younger grades. Learning should be fun. And guess what? We're the teacher. So if learning's going to be fun, it's because we made it that way. If we're not having fun and we're not enjoying ourselves, our kids aren't enjoying themselves either. So those are 3 big mistakes that I've made in my homeschool. I have learned a ton in my 14 years of homeschooling, and I try to share all the wisdom and advice and mistakes that I've made on my blog. So I hope that you will check that out. I blog at Homeschool-Your-Boys.com, hyphens between the words, and I will link to that in the description for this video. Take a look at some of the things that I've written about that have to do with ways to engage your son, ways to enjoy your son, ways to enjoy homeschooling. And I hope that hearing the mistakes that I've made will help you not to make those same mistakes. This video is actually part of an open collaboration that I learned about from Claire at Cookie Crumb Fun, and I will link to her channel in the description for this video as well, so that you can check out some other homeschoolers and mistakes they've made so that you can also learn from some things that they've done. And in the meantime, this is Michelle Caskey from Homeschool-Your-Boys.com, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.